Right now, we're talking about in-laws with a wonderful coach all the way in Canada. His name is Coach Wayde Salmon. Hopefully the L is Salmon. Whatever. Is the L silent or not? I'm going to ask him. Coach Wayde.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the L silent?
It's salmon like the fish. Just
Come
like the fish.
on.
It's silent. It's silent.
So then why isn't it just spelled S-A-M-O-N and just save everybody the trouble?
I mean, just like pneumonia has a P in the front of it. I don't know. I don't know why we do these things.
Well, welcome, Coach. Welcome again. I am so happy it's you.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, last week, Shannon had me have a guest coach on the show, and she was telling people to submit. I didn't like that very much, but I digress.
What's wrong with submission? I'm just joking.
Yeah, okay, because you know what's wrong with submission. Just like I said to my listeners, no woman wants to tell her man to submit and have a man that just submits. So why should you ask me to submit? Let's just compromise with each other and build together. Can we do that?
It depends, though. There's a difference between submission and subservience.
Oh, come on. This is not the subject of today. Just agree with me for once.
I will agree with you, though. Do not submit to anyone.
Thank you,
Coach.
Coach.
You're talking to me, then I'll tell you different. Okay.
All right, so today we're talking about in-laws, right? How much space should you give in-laws in your relationship? Like, especially talk to a person like me. I'm a complete loner. Like, I live alone. I do everything alone. So if I get in a relationship with someone who's very, very family oriented, it might be a tough transition. So how does someone like me know how to set boundaries and know how to allow enough in, I guess, to make everybody happy?
Well, you see, the first part that you spoke about there is the most important part, which is setting boundaries.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, these days, we don't set boundaries. We jump into relationships, and we don't establish boundaries before we get into relationships. And so we expect certain things to happen in relationships, and we don't ever speak about the things that surround the relationship. I say to people all the time, expectations without conversations lead to disappointment. And that's what happens all the time in relationships. We don't speak about, like, for example, with you. Hey, we're getting into this, but I want to talk to you about the relationship I have with my parents or with my friends or with this, that, and the other. We have a very close-knit relationship. We see each other every Sunday. We do this, we do that. You have to understand that there is a long-standing relationship that is here, and while I'm bringing you into my life, you have to be okay with understanding that there is an order and certain expectations that existed prior to you that need to continue after you. So these are the conversations that we would need to first have with our partner to let them know that you are not going to come in and be my end-all, be-all and take up all my time. You have to understand that people existed before you, and should you screw up, they will exist after you.
See, that's where that comes in, right? So, okay.
Leave that last part out, though. Leave that last part out.
I mean, but that's a real reaction a lot of people do have, especially those who have that tight-knit family, because they know at the end of the day, yeah, I have feelings for you. Yeah, we're dating. But when you and I break up, guess who always picks me up and puts me back together?
Right.
It's usually them. You know what I mean? But, okay, so we're in this relationship. Once again, I am me, the real me, the person who's not very family-oriented, and you're trying to now mesh me up into this, right? Okay, so now we've gone forth. We've gone to your family functions. I'm good with that. I've concurred, but we have a baby now. We have a baby, and your mommy keeps coming over. And your mommy keeps telling me I should breastfeed when I don't want to because I have a hard time doing it. And she's telling me how to raise this child. What happens? What happens?
Mommy can't come over.
Oh, I like that.
So,
I like that answer.
Plain and simple. Until mommy realizes that when she gets to the front of that door, there are rules inside this house that even she has to adhere to. And if she can't recognize these rules that she has to adhere to, then she can't come into this house. But you know who sets those rules? Your hubby does.
Oh.
It's not you that needs to set those rules. You have to have that conversation with your husband or your partner, whoever, to say, listen, this is how I feel about this. I feel threatened. I feel intimidated by your mother. I feel like she's trying to usurp what I do as a parent and tell me how to parent my child, and I'm not comfortable with it. And so what I feel I need is some support from you.
Yeah.
And the support that I need from you is to set some boundaries with mom to let her know where and when she can step in and where she needs to step out. And so he needs to set those boundaries at the beginning. Now, if it gets to the point that he's not strong enough to do that,
I was gonna go there next because a couple of them is some real mama's boys, boy.
I'm telling you,
they don't know the line. They don't know the line. So talk to me. If you got one of those, talk to me.
Well, then you have to step in at that point, and you have to set those boundaries. Because if he can't do it and he won't do it, then you need to set those boundaries in his presence. I wouldn't say do it behind his back or when he's not there, but in his presence, have a meeting to say, listen, there are some things that are happening here that I feel are disrespectful to my household and to our household and how we run our household. And I don't feel that these are things that should continue or can continue. And you can outline these things. If she receives it, great. If she doesn't receive it, great. Either way, she's going to have to listen, respect them. And if she doesn't want to respect them...
Okay, before we get to her receiving or not receiving, tell me how to deliver it. Because, like, my mouth, a person like me, my mouth is very light. So if you tell me just to be honest, I'm going to be honest, and then I'm going to get labeled. So, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You see how you said, I'm going to be honest and I'm going to be labeled?
Yeah.
You start off with the right thing. Those I words are the ones you want to talk about.
Okay.
I feel that when I feel threatened in my house, or I feel marginalized in my house, or I feel
like you stepping over my plate. You going too far, lady.
When you go in the you part, that's where you start being accusatory. You start pointing fingers. And that's why we don't want to accuse anyone. You can only talk about how you feel.
Yeah.
And you can only talk about what's going on with you. Once you start putting it on her, guess what's going to happen? Well, no, so you're not doing it properly. And then she turns around and she starts being defensive. And then what's going to happen with you? You're going to be defensive.
Yep.
And now two of you are going to be fighting. And he's in the middle trying to figure out what to do. And,
So by sticking with the narrative of, I feel... and I am not okay with this. And for me to function, this has to change for me. So more like that. Me. Yeah, for me.
For me and our house. Yeah, exactly. Because you can only control yourself. You can only speak to you. I feel like in my household, I don't feel supported.
Right.
I feel as though whenever your mother comes over, I don't know who you're speaking to. Are you speaking to mom or are you speaking to your husband?
Oh, whoever. We can put it in whoever situation right now. Yeah.
I feel as though when your mother comes over, I don't feel as though I am being respected in my household. Okay. I feel as I'm being asked to do things that I'm not comfortable with. I feel I'm being made out to be a bad parent.
Right.
I feel as though, and these are again I statements. You notice you never mentioned anything other than her coming over.
Okay.
You didn't say I feel like she's doing this. She yells at me. She tells me. I ain't saying none of that.
Right.
All I'm saying is that I feel as though I'm a bad parent. I feel I'm being made out to be ill-prepared, not comfortable. I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't like this feeling.
And then by doing that,
go ahead.
I was going to say by doing that, you kind of alleviate the back and forth of them trying to explain why that's not what they meant to do and doing. You're just saying well, it's making me feel this way, so either you can do something about it, or I guess if they're not going to do nothing about it, it's for you to make the decision if you can live with it or leave.
It puts mom in two positions. Mom can either say, you know what, I did not mean to make you feel that way. That was not my intention. I was looking out for my grandchild. And, if you feel that way, I'm sorry. Or mom can say, well, that's too bad. I don't feel that you're a good parent and blah, blah, blah. Either way, you get a response. And now you control how you go from there.
Right.
If she says I don't feel a good parent, then you know what, cool. You go parent out there while I do my parenting in here.
Okay. Well, but what if your significant other is one of those that has not let go of where the milk comes from? So you're saying it, but they're not really truly siding with you when you're saying it.
Here's the thing. Then you have a problem.
Okay.
Because what you have done is you've allowed him into you in the first place.
Okay.
And this was not the first time you knew that he had a problem with his mom and individuation, which is what we call in the profession as your ability to step away from your parents and to individualize yourself. You knew dating him, you knew courting him, you knew before you married him that he was a mama's boy, and you knew that there was going to be problems, and you still welcomed him in. And in doing so, you now have to deal with the consequences. Mm-hmm. And I say to people all the time, you're free to make choices. You're not free from your consequences. And unfortunately, if you pick up a mama's boy who's not taking himself away from the milk, you're now going to have to coach him through this entire process.
Ooh.
And you're going to have to now walk him through the entire process because this is what you picked up on your head.
In other words, you just now giving yourself another baby to raise. Congratulations.
Exactly.
No,
and
thank
you knew that before you got together.
Yeah.
You knew that before you got together.
I think a lot of people know before they marry people what they're marrying into. Some turn a blind eye. Just like when you know your significant other doesn't even like the same sex, but you marry them anyway. It happens. People want to be married, and they get married for the wrong reasons.
People plan the wedding more so than the wedding, and they look than the marriage, I should say. They plan the wedding, not the marriage, and they want to show up at the altar, but they don't care to deal with the stuff that comes afterwards.
Exactly.
And whenever you say, think about how many times or whenever you've broken up with someone. The reason why you broke up with them, you saw those signs the entire time.
Yep.
They were the exact same way the entire time.
Yep.
You can't say, well, I never knew him like. Nope, you knew.
Mm-hmm.
You knew he was this,
I agree.
you knew he was that. You just overlooked it because you were good at the moment, and everything that was going on, you loved it.
And
you
that's why
it.
they say, blinded by love, sir.
Exactly.
Blinded by love. Take the blinders off, people. And when you take the blinders off, if you still love them, that's unconditional love. If you don't love them no more, then welcome back to your reality. Right?
That's it. And then that's when you leave.
Yes. Bye-bye, birdie.
But we can't ignore red flags. We cannot ignore red flags. We have to acknowledge them when we see them. We have to recognize them. We have to speak to them. We have to address them. Because if you ignore these red flags, then they're going to come back up later on.
And we're going to talk about red flags on a different day. We're going to talk about red flags on a different day because also red flags is a broad scope, and there are people that don't like things and people who do like what they don't like. So a red flag can mean one thing to many different people in different ways. We got to talk longer on that, in other words, I think. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an entire conversation.
Yeah, definitely. So right now we're talking to Coach Wayde Salmon. Salmon. It just doesn't sound right.
Well, if you go to buy some salmon, you wouldn't have a problem saying it.
I
Right?
still say salmon. I still say, can I get some salmon? And people keep going. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. What's your social media?
That's another day as well, too.
Listen, what's your social media?
It's Take Two Steps Forward. So if you want me on Instagram, it's Take Two Steps Forward. My website is taketwostepsforward.com. The business is 2 steps forward. It's all tied in together.
I love that. And I hope to have you again because we're going to be talking about those red flags, Coach, okay?
Yes.
Have fun in
anytime.
Canada. You got that good health care out there. You got that good health care.
It's good. I don't have to worry about getting sick. I'm good.